Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here, Chris from New York, Westchester County. Camera might look a little different to you today because I had to buy a new phone. You know, after you just pay off your last phone for 2 years, it breaks and you've got to buy a new one. And what happened to this one was, you know, you buy all these, Verizon, I'm telling you, man, I can go on and on about Verizon, but, my first gripe with Verizon was they could have saved me over $40 a month because I didn't have an unlimited data plan. Nobody bothered to tell me that. You know, I was like, oh yeah, it was on your bill. Let's say, okay, whatever. So anyway, my phone, it was protected just like this one is. And, you buy the glass, you buy the liquid glass, you buy the screen protector, you buy the phone, protective cover is what they call it. Hey, look, if the phone was dropped a couple times, how could you not? You have it for 4 years, 3 years. You're going to drop it eventually. It's going to get wet, there's no doubt. So anyway, my point is that I finally took the glass off of my old phone, and I found out that it had cracks in it, even though that I had the protective screen on it. I didn't know that. All right, I thought those were the cracks on the protective screen. I figured, okay, look, it's still good. I would have taken better care of that phone because I was not in the market to buy a new phone. These things are over $1,000. I remember when I can get a brake job on my car for $1,000. Remember those days? $1,000. I can get a 52-inch a plasma TV, I think, or at least an LCD, That's crazy. Crazy with these prices. And then they put it at a $40 a month thing. It's just, it's such bullshit. It really is. This phone probably does more than I could ever imagine and figure out. Great. But I wasn't in the market for one. I really don't care. Half these things on this phone I'm not even going to ever use, just like nobody else does. Okay. Anyway, what happened to my phone is the screen cracked from end to end. And when it does that, the phone dies out. So I didn't lose any of my pictures. Everything was saved, but I lost some personal stuff on there. And there's not much you can do about that because the phone actually works, but there's no screen, so it's totally useless. Thank you, Apple, for the screen-touched phones. Steve Jobs. Where is he now? Certainly not dead, I can guarantee you that. And on that note, let's quickly talk about Stephen Hawkins, okay? Well, he passed away yesterday, supposedly. And, this guy was catatonic for 50-somewhat years, since the 70s, He had Lou Gehrig's disease. They gave him 5 years to live. More and more bullshit piled up on there, Everything that he said was speculation. All speculation. We live on a flat Earth here. There's no planets up there. There's no light speed. You hear what I'm saying? There's possibly a globe up there. There's just an amazing light show. What they're zooming in on these telescopic lenses, I have no idea. I don't own one of these telescopes, and I don't think anybody should because you don't need one to see half the shit up there anyway. You just get a nice high-powered camera. Invest in the P900. You'll be able to see anything you want. Craters on the moon. This thing is over 260,000 miles away, and you can zoom in on a crater on the moon. Come on, guys. Please. So Stephen Hawkins is catatonic. I believe they were pumping him full of drugs. They needed somebody. They needed a puppet to speak that was believable. Okay, and he certainly was, because everybody could swear, that everything he said was God. Many years ago, I went out and I bought that book just to show off. The stupid things we do as guys, to impress women. Before you awake to this reality, we all did stupid things. And the book that I'm talking about is top of my head. I forget the name of it. Something Time. A Brief History of Time, okay, is the name of the book. I have it somewhere. I was going to bring it and show it to you. But I must have read that freaking book 15 times. I didn't understand a goddamn word of it. Nothing. Zero. Just put it on the bookshelf right there. And pretend like you read it and understood it. And who is? Just like the definition of gravity. 48-page book of complete nonsense of mathematical solutions and stuff you'll never understand. And how could you? Because they don't want you to understand it. Because if you did understand it, you'd know it's all bullshit. Sorry, we're not all architectural engineers here, all right? We don't have a BA, well, not a BA, but a master's degree in geophysics to understand all of the nonsense that these scientists are putting out there. So, Stephen Hawkins, let's take a look at Stephen Hawking's death. One, he died at the age of 76. Okay, I had to actually look this up. At first I looked at the age. It didn't really didn't signify anything to me. But then you can see the number 13 in it, okay? And then this fact. The guy dies on Albert Einstein's birthday, people. Come on. What the hell are the chances of that? More bullshit. It screams. It's like a train wreck. It really is. It's like a piece of Swiss cheese. I could drive trucks through this shit. But nobody sees it. They just go along. Oh, we're going to have a praise for him. 3-hour episode of everything that he's done and everything that he's said. But he's not talking. You do realize that. NASA made sure of that by pumping him up with drugs and making him catatonic, for Christ's sake. And what kind of life was that he was led? Stuck in a wheelchair all of his life. Okay. I want to get on another topic with you, with these kids, all right, who I can't believe the parents are allowing these kids to cut school and to go on in their rant and raving when they don't know what the hell they're talking about. All right, they think it's guns. They think that's the problem. It's such bullshit. It's not guns, okay? These kids were whacked. Something was not right up there with these kids, okay? And all of the signs were there. The FBI knew about everything. Why don't the kids go after that? Why don't the college kids make a big speech about that and cry and moan about why the FBI didn't do anything about these people? What about the psychiatrists in the school? They all knew. They used to keep sharp objects away from these kids. For the very last one, they knew. It's unbelievable, the lies. And who's running these things? These cutting school and all. The billionaires are doing this. Okay, they're scripting everything that you're hearing. You're seeing all lies out there. Okay, and these parents are allowing their children to cut school. Aren't these kids in finals right now? It's March right now. Oh, that's right. Spring break's coming up. Then finals, right? Shouldn't they be studying? Shouldn't they be trying to make this country better? Because that's why we're being flushed down the toilet because China's taken over. They're not going to have any protests like this. You think there's any protests in China? No. You'd be smacked on the butt, for Christ's sake. You're not cutting school. Forget it. Could you imagine that in China? This is the only country you can get away with it. What a waste. What a waste, guys. It's really unbelievable that this is happening, that these protests are being engineered by the billionaires, and the media too. Well, they own the media, so there's really nothing to talk about that. But it really is. It's unbelievable. Okay, all right. Okay, I thank you for subbing. I thank you for. Let me be a part of your life, and for leaving comments and everything like that. This flat Earth is that's what the kids should be protesting. Could you imagine if you got that kind of power that these kids have? You know, that's why they concentrate on the school. You know, that's why they're doing it. But once these kids finally wake up and they start protesting the government, that's when it's really going to become scary, because there's a lot of us and there's very little of them. They're scared shitless of us, all right? And that's why they're doing everything they can to keep us stupid. And this is keeping us stupid, you know? The death of Stephen Hawkins is keeping us stupid. The fact that they're talking about these fake planets up there and space and traveling to the moon, it's abominable. It really is. All right, let me know how this new camera works. I could do all sorts of new stuff with it. I don't know. I haven't figured it out. You know, you get these things, it takes you 5 months to figure them out. So, all right. Again, I thank you.